I need to address a problem in our business. And to be honest, this problem has been growing for almost a year now. It's something that we have just been sitting on, and it's time that we addressed it. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I am Kirsty, one half of the Kermat Exchange, and my partner Matt and I essentially started this thrifting reselling journey just over 2 years ago now, almost 3 to be honest. It started off as a part-time hobby side hustle while I was working my full-time job in social media marketing, absolutely hating it, but that's fine. And it sort of stemmed from this desire to grow a more sustainable and environmentally conscious lifestyle, and basically to help rehome things that still had good life in them. So we really started off on council cleanups. The amount of great stuff that was just going straight to landfill was actually insane. So we would rummage through piles, obviously respectfully and keeping everything tidy, and we would find items to then be able to resell online for a profit. We also enjoyed, definitely in the early days, going to op shops and finding some items that were a great deal that we could then flip online. However, that has proven to be more difficult now, and in general we stick away from those sorts of venues just because the profit margins aren't there. That's not to say we don't occasionally pop in, but it's definitely not our main source when it comes to stock. And I think basically we've just grown now to a point where I'm super proud of what we've achieved and what we're doing. However, there is a bit of an issue. And that is, I have so much stock sitting around waiting for whatnot. This has come from a place of needing to expand, grow, and diversify the business in terms of revenue, income, how I can make it the most profitable for the time and effort that I put in, also trying to build my way back up to the old income that I used to earn. And that's part of the fun, that's part of the challenge. I can work my own hours, I can work at my own pace, and I'm actually doing something that I really, really enjoy. A little secret about me is I love wrapping presents, and basically every parcel that I do now it feels like I'm wrapping a present. So I love it. But we have learnt that eBay, going out sourcing every couple of days on the weekend, you'd have to hit an absolute gold mine for that to be a sustainable way to carry on your business. And to be able to find that is super rare, far few in between. We then branched out on to Marketplace and finding deals there as well, where people were trying to get rid of massive gaming bundles. And if you've followed the channel for a little while, you would know that we do have quite a lot of gaming stock that we are selling and working our way through. There is still a whole bunch of stuff on this side of my to attend to piles that I currently can't test because we don't have a analog TV. So that's a whole nother journey. With Marketplace, I think there's varying success because one thing we've noticed a lot more recently is everyone is looking up the value of their items and what it can resell for. And I don't mind that, but I've also got to appreciate that if they're not putting in the time and the effort that it takes to get that amount of money, you're probably not going to get it. Like charging an item at a garage sale for eBay sold prices or higher, it's very rare that that one person who's willing to pay that amount is going to come to your specific garage sale. Whereas at least with eBay, you've got the reach. So we knew from that point we needed to be able to diversify what we're doing, because to make this sustainable, you always got to grow. That's when we started really heavily leaning into consignment, and bless the first family that gave us the opportunity to do consignment for them. It was something that we were relatively new to. Like, obviously the concept isn't new. People do consignment all the time. Essentially, that's what auction houses are. But for us to be able to get a completely random family to trust us with their items to ensure that we weren't just robbing them blind was an absolute blessing. We had done some previously for friends, but I feel like it's a whole different ball game when it's people that you don't know. So naturally, that's when all of the art and the Wedgwood came about in our business, and that has been a lot of work. And I mean a lot of work. I have spent hours upon hours, probably days and weeks, sifting through all of the Wedgwood stuff. If you haven't seen, I do have a video about selling Wedgwood. That's for another time. But it was one of those things where I learnt so much without the monetary risk. And that's where we sort of looked at consignment as a really good avenue for us to be able to grow the business without having to pour hundreds and thousands of dollars into stock that will take time to list and move, and we won't get that direct money back. Consignment only involves the cleaning and testing and listing side of things. But if it doesn't sell at the end of the day, we're not like directly out of pocket. Obviously, I value my time and I put money on that. But in terms of, we spent $50 on this or $100 on this and it hasn't sold, now we're selling either at a loss or we're just donating it because it's not worth the time and the effort. This was a nice way to be able to grow the business. And so now we have a few people under our belt that we do consignment for. If, again, you've been watching, you'll know that Henry is one of our newest people that we do this for. And he has a really interesting way of sourcing his stock because he does do deceased estate clear outs and removal clear outs and that sort of stuff. So like when people move out and they just want to get rid of everything, real estate agents will contact them when a house has been abandoned so he can just clear out all that stuff, and the stuff is for free. He charges for his service. This is just an extra source of income for him to be able to go, like, again, rather than just sending things to landfill, he goes, I know that this has still got life in it. I know that someone will probably want this, use this, value it, so may as well rehome it. And again, add a bit of a fee because there is time and effort involved. So that has started to work out really nicely for us. But it's still not quite enough. And for us to be able to really successfully dive into this, you're always going to be looking for new opportunities. Now, Whatnot isn't a new concept. It's been in the States for a few years now. And it's one of those ones where we originally started our journey watching and learning from American resellers. So we always knew that Whatnot was a thing. When we finally heard that it was coming to Australia, we were very excited. We have no idea if our stuff is going to do well. I think what we've sort of learned, especially from watching Hairy Tornado, is to do well on Whatnot, you need to have a presence. You need to have a following because there are so many sellers on there selling similar-ish items, at least within categories, that you're less likely just going to stumble upon someone's show. And I think similar to any social media account, once you start having more followers, or in Whatnot's instance, more viewers on your show, you're more likely to go into that show if you are just sort of perusing the app. Like if you saw a show that had 4 viewers versus a show that had 400 viewers, you're naturally going to click the show that has 400 viewers because obviously it must be good if it's got that many people at that current time watching, or they've got a givey going, but usually it's a bit of both. So for us, part of knowing that Whatnot was going to come to Australia is a reason why we've started doing videos, not only to document and show how cool everything is what we do, but also knowing that to be successful on other platforms like Whatnot, when it becomes available to us, you need a following, you need a presence, you need people who want to support you, like you. It's just unrealistic to assume that you're going to have absolute bangers if you don't have some sort of personality and presence outside of just your eBay store. So I'm really hoping you guys will come and watch our shows if and when we ever get approved. That's something I'll talk about in a minute. But I think that's sort of the next step for us in terms of our business growth. We need to look at how we can quickly move some of the stock that we have, especially in terms of some of the items that Henry has given us, because he got some stuff in so much bulk to test, list, clean, measure, depending on what the items are. That's just going to take up so much of our time. And I do have to be conscious that whilst, yes, there's no monetary involvement directly in it, we also have only 50% of the profits. So after fees and shipping. So I need to be conscious that if an item sells for $300, we're not getting $300. That item, it has to go through all the fees and shipping and all of that, and then it's getting split. So yes, we're still getting a free, probably like $100 from it, which is great. But you've also got to consider, when I now look at our 90-day total or our sales for the week, in terms of like what eBay's paying us, not all of that money is ours. So that also sort of messes with your brain a little bit. I do also have a lot of stock sitting around that I don't want to throw out. I know it's good. Probably not worth like so much money that it's worth spending the time putting it up on eBay. If I can just quick flip it, that'll be great. I'm also conscious that, as I mentioned earlier, the fact that op shops are super expensive now, I don't want to donate my stuff there because I don't want people having to pay up so much more to get this item if it's not worth a whole lot. If that makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, my mentality is, I've also started giving away a lot of stuff for free on Marketplace because I would rather someone get it for free than have to pay a lot of money at an op shop for it. If they can use it and do whatever with it, that's fine. I'd much rather it go to them than the op shop. Not to say we don't donate to charity. We do. That's not part of it. I just think the way that op shops are running at the moment, particularly in Sydney and Australia, I just don't see how I would want to necessarily support that. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, guys, on that, because it's very conflicting. And I think everyone knows that they're overpricing it, like to the point that they're pricing it over eBay sold. So like you're paying even more for it than you could from the comfort of your own home at eBay. Anywho, so now, Whatnot. I've got beef, and if you've watched this channel, you will know that we applied to be a Whatnot seller back in early September last year, 2024. It is now getting towards the end of August. So it has nearly been a year since we applied to be a Whatnot seller. And at the moment that we applied, we started accumulating stock for Whatnot. That's not to say that we're picking up stuff really cheap that isn't worth a whole lot and just putting it aside. It's also including, like, from our larger buys, items that aren't necessarily worth listing up on eBay because it only sells for 10, 20, even sometimes like 30 free postage. I've been putting all of that aside because I've tested it. I've cleaned it. It's all ready to go. Even some of the consignment stuff, it's just not worth our time putting in the effort for the photography and listing and all of that when you're not going to get a whole lot out of it because, as I said, at the end of the day, we only get 50% of it after fees and shipping. Like, we've had items that have sold on eBay and made $3 from it. Like, to me, that time and effort is not worth it. So I think there's a growth in terms of our consignment and being a bit more fussy about what we actually list. But also, I want to dive into Whatnot and be able to move things a lot faster. If we could make $200 or $300 in a show, that would be fantastic. That's money that we don't have to worry about. Then I'm happy to sort of split that 50-50 if it is consignment items, or just take in that money quickly. Like, I would take a smaller profit margin if it meant I was guaranteed to move it that day. But I'll show you guys sort of some of the items that we've got banked up. Let me know what you would be interested in, because I have emailed Whatnot several times. I'm probably on their like block list now, their ban list. Don't respond to this crazy lady. But basically, I've seen sellers selling all of these goods in Australia, Whatnot started off as a trial for just cards and collectibles. That was meant to finish in Jan. That was their beta testing period from September to Jan, which is why originally our application got declined. And then when I emailed them, I'm like, why is it declined? They're like, oh, it's okay, we'll put it back into pending, and it's pending again now. But then from January, they were meant to open it up. However, their testing period went a lot longer. And I think from a bit of insider knowledge that I have, I know people who know people in Whatnot. And it was then a matter of going, oh, we don't know if there's a market outside of the cards space, the trading card space. And we don't want to just open it up and it essentially just be a flop, because they have had to hire people and set up an office in Australia to facilitate the Australian side. So with that, they've now gone, oh, we'll slowly open up categories. The next one that they were looking at was fashion. Now, I feel like that's got a bit sideways because I still haven't really seen many fashion sellers on there, but I have seen video games, collectibles, half the stuff that we have ready to sell available, selling on Whatnot. And I think that those people have admitted the only way to get approved is to apply as a card seller and then just sell whatever the heck they want. And that was the thing for me where I'm like, I don't want to go around this dodgy route. I don't want to be dishonest in terms of what I say we're going to sell. Like, you'll see when we get to the stuff that we have to sell. We do have some cards, but I don't want to compete in that space. That space now, because it has been open for nearly a year, is heavily oversaturated. And if you are not a known card seller in Australia, I'm not going to lie, those shows seem to flop. I've seen shows with 1 viewer, 2 viewers, but there'll be like 5 of those. And then your big players like Carson, Neon, LCMG, like those shows have got hundreds of viewers. So I don't want to compete with them. That is not our space. That is not our realm. I also don't have the knowledge for that. Matt does. Matt could definitely do a card show and be very well off, which will lead me into when we will sell cards, and I'll tell you how we plan on working that in. But it is definitely an area that you need to have a stronger knowledge on. Like, we participate in the shows. We buy cards occasionally just to support our friends, but also in case there's a good one, we might be able to resell it. But I just don't, I'm not fighting for that airtime. That is not us. That is not where we want to play in. We want to play in the everything else category, which is essentially what our eBay store is. But to be able to do that, we need to be approved. And every time I message them, they say, oh, like now, oh, we're slowly introducing new sellers. I'm like, yeah, but look, I saw this person. Like, I'll literally get someone's username who's been selling collectibles and stuff that shouldn't have been allowed yet, according to Whatnot. And now they've changed their tune, being like, oh, we're slowly rolling people out. We've bumped your account to priority. I've had them tell me that my account has been pushed as a priority for review for selling since maybe April. And like I said, we're near the end of August now. And every time I haven't heard back from them, like, oh yeah, it's a priority. Like, we'll get someone to review your account shortly. I've been following up each month, a month after they've emailed us being like, hey, I think we have different definitions of priority. Because for me, a priority isn't, it'll take 4 months for us to review it. But hey, they might be busy. I don't know. I was also cautious that at the very beginning we got rejected because they hadn't properly opened up the seller applications in Australia and said that they weren't even selling in Australia at that point. And I'm wondering if that hindered it. I've had several people recommend that we just go down the cards route, say we're selling cards and then sell whatever. I don't want to lose our username, also the history of being on Whatnot for so long at this point. Like, we've been there since pretty much day one, not selling, but just participating as a buyer. So I don't want to lose that sort of, I mean, even if it counts credit in the app, if that's how it works, I don't know. But I'm just conscious that I want to keep our account as it is. So I am very patiently waiting, but I am getting very frustrated as well because I have a lot of stock that is just sitting here. I had stock that I was going to sell on Whatnot, and it got to the point where I'm like, no, I'm just going to make bundles and start selling it on eBay because I'd rather the money than stock sitting there for a year that's earning me nothing. And that's the thing as well, guys. Like, a lot of this stuff, as I said, it's good stuff. I could just make bundles like the video games. Yes, individually they're not worth a whole lot, but I could just make bundles. But I thought, hey, if we're going to get people coming to our Whatnot show, I want to have some good stuff that people will want to buy. So I'll save it. But now I'm kind of regretting saving it. I'll show you what we've got in mind. Let me know what kind of stuff you guys would be interested in terms of actually purchasing and seeing in the shows. Let us know as well any experiences that you've had either with Whatnot, selling on Whatnot, or buying on Whatnot, if it's a space that you are interested in. And then I think as well, looking at how else we can grow our business, because maybe Whatnot isn't it. Maybe it'll be a big flop. Maybe I'll finally get accepted and then we'll have absolute poo shows. I don't know. But the only way that we're going to know is if we try. The other one I know that everyone is really fangirling over at the moment is Depop, because there is no selling fees, which is obviously fantastic. If any platform offers really low or no selling fees, you're naturally going to get more people. But I'm pretty sure Depop, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if there's any Depop girlies on here, that Depop is mainly for clothes, shoes, and accessories. So like bags, hats, jewelry, that sort of stuff. Can you sell just normal items on Depop? It might be somewhere that we expand our stuff to. Maybe I need to move all of our clothing listings off eBay and onto Depop, because then I could do it for a bit cheaper, but it might move faster, but it might have the right target demographic, because I'm not competing with everyone on eBay. I'm just competing with the people on Depop. Let me know. Also, if you guys have your ear to the ground, is there any up and coming platforms that we should be aware of, that we should try and sell on, something that might benefit us as a growing business? I do eventually want to move out of this space and get like a mini warehouse and be able to actually like grow this steadily. Eventually, it'd be nice if we had people working with us. Like, that would be fantastic as well. So I'm very conscious of like the growth trajectory that I want to do without increasing the workload tenfold. Now let's get into some of the items that we will have to sell eventually when we are granted permission on Whatnot. Let's go. As I'm sure you guys will be very well aware of, we have golf clubs. Now, this is a space that we are relatively unsure about in terms of the best ways to sell it. Outside of Marketplace, we don't really dabble in this, and I think it's just because we haven't done the research around AusPost and the length of the item. What's the maximum length that you can send without it having to be a courier? Is it something that we dive into where it's a courier service to deliver this? But usually what we do is build up some nice sets, take some photos, list it up on Marketplace, they're gone. What we do have though is, especially like here, these are all of our higher end clubs that just haven't made it into sets yet. We've got a whole bunch here. We've got a whole bunch of putters and drivers and woods that are remaining untouched right now. And I think we've seen people do well in the States with golf clubs and shipping, but I also know that they have different shipping policies over there. Is this something you guys would be interested in? Additionally, we do have golf accessories. Like, we've got a whole bunch of head covers, we've got golf balls, we've got like bag straps. So like, for example, just like a nice Callaway bag strap that you can use. Yeah, it's a little bit rusty on the clip, but the actual strap itself is in pretty good condition. So let us know if this is a space that you guys would be interested in possibly buying into, and we can do the research. We just haven't done it on eBay because, for one, selling these bags would be impossible. We would have to do individual clubs, and then I think it gets a bit more difficult when you start going into like the drivers and stuff, where they're obviously a lot longer. I don't know if the occasional iron would be fine to sell. We do also have some bulk lower end sets that we've already built, we just haven't done anything with, so maybe that's something that would be interesting. We do have a few left-handed clubs, so maybe someone who's a lefty who's specifically looking for one item, that might be better, because again, whilst we love selling this on Marketplace, the reach is somewhat limited to our area and surrounding suburbs, so there probably has to be a better way to do this. So golf is one category that we'll be looking into at selling on Whatnot. This one is one that we haven't touched on in a while, and it is not Del Toro Quest, because you guys know that we do still sell these. Goosebumps. we did one of our, I think, best deals ever at a closing down warehouse where they had a whole bunch of books. We bought so many Goosebumps. We also bought so many Del Toro Quests, which is when that whole sort of saga started. We bought a whole bunch of other books as well that have gone on to sell, and we have made phenomenal money on that. I'm pretty sure we spent like maybe $200 or $300, and for us that was massive at that time. This is very early days. We didn't know about the books, but we just knew that it would work out, it would be fine. These books have been sitting here now for like nearly 2 years. We are still in the process of building up a complete first edition Goosebumps set. We're literally like, I think 3 books away from that. So when that happens, we'll definitely be listing those up. But we do have so many other variants of Goosebumps that I just haven't touched since we got this. This is 2 rows deep of books complete, and that's probably like 200 books there, if not more. Then we've got all of these here. I've got some to the side, I've got some over there. Like, we used to have the motto of like, if we see a Goosebump, we'll just pick it up. We then went through the process of sorting them all out, counting them all out, but this is something that I feel like people could enjoy buying on Whatnot. We have so many books also just on our eBay store. A lot of them we either got really cheap at like book fairs or on council cleanup. So that obviously are in good enough nick, but let us know if that's something that you guys would be interested in, because I know books are generally relatively specific. Like if you were looking for a book, you're looking for a specific book, but something like Goosebumps that I know can have quite a decent resell, if we were able to sell mini bundles of these, or if people are specifically looking for a certain number to complete their set, we could possibly work something out there. Maybe this would then be included in our like collectible toys show rather than specifically a book show. This shelf, this is my Whatnot shelf. I do also have a bit of a shame here with these 3 shelves taken up by so many Mills and Boons that no one is buying. So guys, if you want Mills and Boon, please have a look. We're happy to do some bulk deals. I currently do have 10 or 15% off all of our Mills and Boons. So definitely have a look. If there's something there that you'd like to get, now's the time to do it because they're on sale. I mean, maybe I'll even do a Mills and Boons show. That feels too niche. Anywho, this shelf is full of things that we can sell and whatnot. We have so many video games. We have a whole bunch of PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, DS. We've got Sega. We've got NES. Like, I've got cartridges here, guys. I've saved cartridges for you, and we still haven't been approved. We've also got like random collectible stuff. Like, I've got a dragon. I've got a really vintage Monopoly tin. We've got Cluedo. I've got like a little Furby guy here. We've got some just action figures. I've got, what else have I got? I've got like old planes and cars. I've got plushie coming out of my ears. I have so many different things here that I feel like people would love. I've also actually got a whole nother tub under my photo station of like PlayStation 2 games, more Xbox 360, more PS3. There's so much there, guys, because normally what I do is bundle them up. If I've got a console, I'll just grab a few to add to the console so that looks a bit juicier. But I'm happy to do that on Whatnot. I'm happy to give that away at a really good price. But this shelf is killing me because this shelf is an accumulation of a year's worth of testing. Every game here has been tested and is working. And then realizing that it's not worth enough to sell on eBay individually. But I wanted to give Whatnot a red hot go, and I didn't want to have just crap on Whatnot. Sorry for the language. But basically that was my mission. It was to have decent enough stuff that people would actually want to come to our shows. This has been sitting here for nearly a year, and it's really grinding my gears. If you know, you know, clothing is my least favorite thing to deal with. when it comes to reselling. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. I think the measurements, the time, the effort they have to go into cleaning everything, washing it, drying it, it just is not worth it. Even storage is quite hard when it comes to clothes. And then you see this tub next to me. All of these shirts, whole bunch of polos, button-ups, golf shirts, dress shirts. I've got it all, guys. And I do not want to list this up on eBay. I would much rather pump it out in a Whatnot show, do probably a massive clothing, and actually re-look at the items that we have listed on our store, because I would love to get rid of most of it. If I can move on all of the jumpers, the shorts, the shirts, the jackets, I could do quite a few clothing Whatnot shows, and I am happy to move them on for some good deals, because I'm done with this. Clothing is an area that I feel like is meant to do well on Whatnot. I don't know how that works though in terms of size and measurements, because obviously you wouldn't necessarily have that on the Whatnot if you're just pulling up a shirt and going, this is your shirt. Like, are you meant to provide all of that? If anyone watches any clothes sellers on Whatnot, let me know what the tips and tricks are, because this is a space I will definitely be wanting to dive into to see if it's successful and just help move all of this, because I ain't listing it. And my last two categories are Christmas. I love Christmas, guys. I'm picking up a whole bunch of Christmas stuff. A lot of it, I'm going to say, not super vintage, not super cool. There are some. I've got some glass ornaments, but I've also just got some generic decorations that you might find helpful. So honestly, if I'm not approved by Christmas, I quit. I'm done. I'm not waiting for Whatnot anymore if I am not approved by 2026. That is stupid at that point. And finally, the other category that I think we would do relatively well in is sports. I know we did golf, but this is separate. I'm talking like, what have we got here? Like some jersey looking stuff. Like, look how cool this is. We've got jerseys, we've got numbered pieces here. I've got hats and caps, like the hockey club. Like, look at this. A lot of this stuff is hockey. I do have a lot of hockey memorabilia to help move on. But we've also got basketball. We've got footy. I mean, we've got cards. And I think this is where we would tie in any collectible cards that we would want to sell. It would be in our sports show. Possibly we would even just do like an American sports show. That'd be kind of cool, right? Because we've got a lot of caps that are the basketball NBA teams. We do have a few jerseys. I don't know, we'll see, but I feel like a sports one would be kind of cool too. So then you've got a little bit of everything. I think there is also a hockey stick as well that we could sell. We've got some rackets, like some vintage rackets. Guys, hit me up. Let me know what you'd be interested to see in. But things like this, it's so cool, but it's all just sitting here. I don't want to spend, like, literally this box is just full of hats. Yeah, some hats are definitely no good. Like, this is fully broken. Like, that brim ain't a brim no more. So we'll have to go through this. But we have so much stuff just sitting here waiting for this opportunity to come. And if it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't know what the other options are in terms of moving this fast without eBay. Maybe we'll just have like some hella mad garage sale and just go crazy. Like everything is $1 or $2 and just fill a bag for 20 or something like that. I don't know. That would be insane. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm praying that Whatnot is just going to give us this opportunity already. I'm just, frustrated. Super frustrated. So I hope, one, that this video made sense and I didn't just ramble like a mad woman, but also I hope it's given you guys a bit of an insight into the way that we really want to utilize Whatnot and how we're planning on growing our business. I think this will help. I mean, it might fail, but at least it'll probably move some stock, and that I'll be thankful for. other opportunities, and I've had a fantastic suggestion about, if you guys watch some of the American resellers, they have essentially what they call like buy lists, where they have items that they are always on the lookout for, they know is an easy quick flip for them, and they pay premium because they still know that they're going to make a profit on it. Is that something that would work in Australia? Does it already exist? What is out there? I think it's a great suggestion, but the manpower that we would need for that is quite big. So the progress to get there would take a while. Also to figure out what's at a competitive rate that people would actually want to send you their stuff for. And guarantee, like I say, like what's in terms of if they send you something in really poor condition, do you then just send it back? I don't know what that looks like, but it would be something interesting if you guys know of prices that you would be wanting to get rid of some of your stuff. If you guys have stuff that you want to get rid of, let me know. I'm always on the lookout for new avenues, new friends, new ways to source stock, and new ways to sell stock. Auction houses just aren't really an option for us when we've done a few of those. It's just the biggest pain in the ass. They take a lot of money. I think the time and effort, and I mean, in particular, the one auction house that we've dealt with, it was horrid. I hated it. But should we then be looking at buying storage units or actually buying from auctions? I don't know if that's a way to make money. So I'm really just all about, at the moment, figuring out ways to grow our business to be like as successful as it can be without necessarily increasing the workload, because it is mainly just me. Matt helps when he can, but it's just me. So I need to find a way to scale within reason and get my income back up. But I'm just phenomenal, guys. We had our first buyer or viewer of the show buy something from us that we know of, that actually like thanked us in the messages beforehand. So that was really nice. Please let us know if you guys are a watcher. We're happy to give you guys a bigger deal, a better deal, because you're supporting us. The only other avenue I haven't touched on, YouTube. I know you guys are going to hate me for it, but I would love to monetize it. But to be able to do that, I need 1,000 subs. So we are on our way there. We're nearly at 600. I would be over the moon if I was able to make any money from this content, because right now I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it for the exposure. I'm doing it for, hopefully, as I said, the whatnot following that we might be able to get from this if you guys jump over there and give us a little bit of a support. That would be fantastic. But I'm all about growing. I'm all about ideas. I'm all about still making this fun and still enjoying it, which I thoroughly am. But yeah, guys, let me know what your ideas are. I love when you participate in the comments, because you guys are smarter than me. So hit me up with any suggestions, thoughts, or even just feelings towards this style of video where I'm just word vomiting at you guys. But if you've made it this far, please leave a comment and say that you watched till the end, because I really appreciate that. Chuck a like if you haven't already. As I said, a subscribe would mean the world. And we'll catch you on the next one. Possibly with some more garage sale content. I might be breaking my hiatus. We'll see. Bye.